And welcome to episode 19, guys. We're going to be talking about the Destiny 2 raid that happened on Saturday. We're going to be also chatting about the emblem drama that happened throughout the week. And then we'll talk about maybe some other random things to get started. Again, if you're listening to this on Anchor or watching this on YouTube, we're usually live on Twitch every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. In case you don't know who I am your host, Spidercides, and here with me is my co-host, Liger313. But yeah,
Up?
so we're going to talk about the Destiny 2 raid that happened on Saturday. Liger and I were on the same team. And yeah, Liger, give us a synopsis of what went on, what happened.
So I haven't really done a raid, obviously, since D1, since Wrath of the Machine. I honestly, truthfully, can't remember my raid team for Wrath of the Machine. Actually, no, I think I remember. No, I don't actually at all. But I know it was Rec Nation people. But it was a long fucking day. I didn't think I was gonna be up for 41 hours. Just because I had some things to do on Sunday with my family. So basically, I got up at like 8 a.m., had breakfast, relaxed, just watched some sports or whatever, and then we got into the raid at 12 o'clock, and we went from noon at launch all the way till 5 a.m. the next morning. And it was a lot. It was a lot more than I remember, and a lot more stress than I remember. I think the one thing that we had at a disadvantage was, as we knew everyone in our raid team, we all knew each other. We've all played before.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't raid regularly, so I think there was just a lot of a few unknowns, maybe per se. Without pointing fingers at anyone, because I think we all probably could have done things better, or we made mistakes, whatever.
I don't know. I was pretty flawless that whole raid. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're
I'm
right.
not.
You were
I'm
pretty
not
good.
even gonna
You were
lie.
pretty
Like
flawless. Yeah, you were straight.
I was pretty consistent. I think the difference with,
No, you were pretty good.
but I've
Yeah.
done day ones before, so I knew how to be.
Yeah.
So I think from that experience, like I had a build, I had everything ready, and I knew it was gonna take a while, but as the time went on, I just needed to focus. So I didn't even talk much. I just said, "Okay, guys, we're gonna
No,
do
yeah,
this,
you
this,
were.
this."
Yeah.
I was pretty quiet for the most part. I just perfected my role, and then
Yeah.
that's it. And I just shut my mouth. Like I was unaware of anything else. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I do best. But no, the raid, yeah, it took us about 17 hours. We did not finish it. We did end up at the boss. I think over time, people, obviously, all of us were tired. We were exhausted, and I think it kind of mentally drained us. Because for the most part,
Yeah.
we
That's
were at the
that's an
boss within
understatement.
the 6 hour mark, I believe, and I think after that moment, we fell off. I think it was just no, sorry about the eight. I think it was
No,
eight to
it
10
took
hour.
us. Yeah, as I say, it took us like 7 hours to beat Atrax, and then
So
we got through the next encounter like in 30 minutes.
yeah, and the whole raid itself, we did have, like, we weren't in the whole raid for 17 hours. We did take breaks. I, for one, took
Yeah.
about a 20 to 30-minute break for dinner because I was not going to do a raid without eating. And my brother, who's on the team, unfortunately had a personal reason to get off, and that obviously had a setback because we had to find people. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if time wasted for waiting for people was in the realm of maybe 2 hours at least.
Easily.
So I enjoyed the raid. I think mechanically it's fun. I like the fact that it wasn't it I like the fact that you weren't feeling like a weak guardian. Like you just went in there and you're like, yeah, I'm lower level, but I'm not like being spanked for no reason. You still had to work
Yeah.
together as a team, and I love that we didn't have to stay in one freaking bubble or one spot and shoot at the
Hmm.
boss, right?
Yes.
But yeah, no, I love the raid, man. It's I'm gonna say top three, top three of all time. What about you?
Easily. Yeah, it's definitely right up there. Top five. Well, yeah, top three, probably third. It would probably take the third spot because I really do. But see, that this is my problem because I have like a. It's such a tight spot for me. But for Vogue, Wrath of Machine, and Taken King, Crota or not Crota, Oryx.
Hmm.
It's a really tight race for those three, and now to add this one to that mix is like I don't know how to rank 1 through 4
Hmm.
appropriately.
Yeah, no, because it's definitely up there. I think my favorite raid is gonna be. I'm gonna say Oryx. I think that one was really really fun. And my second would definitely be Last Wish. Something about seeing a big badass boss was definitely exhilarating.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that was a cool experience
like I know
because Riven was fucking huge.
everyone's gonna probably really enjoy obviously Wrath of the Machine as well as um, Atheon. For me, Atheon will never be in my top three only because it's so hard to compare that to all of these raids because at the end of the day, the feeling you had in that raid to get Vex and to go through the Gorgons and all that, yeah, it was fun. And you're never gonna beat that nostalgia. But
No,
I can't like we can't count that rate all the time because it's like there's been a lot of raids, man. We've had a
yeah, that's
fuck
what I
ton.
think. That's why I want to say like Vogue kind of falls out of my top three.
Yeah,
I would probably go Oryx, Wrath Machine, and then Deepstone Crypt.
yeah,
And Deepstone might even top Wrath of the Machine because honestly, let's be real, Wrath of the Machine and Deepstone Crypt have a lot of similarities.
for sure.
They are the final boss is almost a one-off exact final encounter.
Yep.
You're killing servitors, or not. Well, you're not killing servitors in this fight, but you killed servitors to get a charge to throw at the boss in the
Mm-hmm.
pre-fight, right? And now this time you're shooting bombs out and taking the bombs to then get for a longer DPS stage,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're shooting a boss that's rotating around the room. So like they have similarities, but I think Deepstone Crypt beats Wrath of the Machine for me just from an overall
Yeah,
experience.
like it's clear because obviously everyone's frames were dropping. That
Hmm.
there was so much going on in that raid that like look at the boss for example. That force field with all the debris going around them is so cool.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
it's unreal to see that environment around you because it kind of like
Hmm.
livens up the environment. You know, it's
It does.
right, like everything's alive. You see debris on the ground now, and it's kind of it's pretty cool. So I like the way they did it. I think it was cool that in terms of the lore factor, we have finally got a boss that kind of ties into the whole story element that we've been experiencing in D2. So D2 is
Yes.
finally becoming a linear story, and I remember in last week's episode, I'm not fully impressed with the expansion, just because the value that we spent just isn't fair. I think we need more content. However, the raid definitely supplies a good chunk of that. Visually, the weapons are fantastic. The armor is beautiful, and none
And they're
other.
letting you farm all that stuff now, which is cool.
And I'm gonna call it here the best raid exotic of all time. Like, it's literally because you compare it. Like, it's that compared with and Anarchy's great. Actually, every raid. Let's be honest, every raid exotic has been pretty good. We have that Anarchy, Thousand Voices, Teraba, Vex,
Yeah, but you're not using
Necrochasm.
Terra is probably the
No, no,
worst out of all of
I'm
them.
just naming them. I'm just naming them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Necrochasm. Like best top three is gonna be Anarchy, Thousand Voices, and this rocket launcher, right by far.
Yeah.
Vex I would
Yep.
put in there only if it was day one Vex, because day
Oh
one
my god,
Vex
day
was.
one Vex was fucking just
After that,
it
Vex
was
is
not even
whatever, bro.
fair.
Vex is whatever after that.
Yeah.
But look,
Vex 2.0 nerf was whatever.
and the reason I say this rocket launcher is by far the best one because it literally is one of the first ever exotics from a raid that allows you to kill a bunch of PvE enemies and PvP enemies. Like it's a best of both worlds type of exotic. Thousand Voices was the last one in my opinion. Anarchy, you're not using that in Crucible unless you're trolling people. But because I've definitely done that many times. But the Anarchy is definitely one that everyone uses in Gambit. I guarantee you, you have this exotic and you're jumping into Gambit. Oh, you're shooting that rocket launcher, bro. You're just like, and I've seen people they literally aim and then they shoot up like back in the day, like with Gallahorn, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's a cool exotic. I hope to get it. Big shout out to Rogue Doc in the chat. Welcome, brother. My Pokemon protege.
What up, brother?
Good to see you.
My
and
Pokemon protege.
And then my boy 925. Where does one purchase friends to play raids, bro? Just right here, dog. PC only though. PC only, and then hit that PayPal.
But, yeah, you're gonna have to hit my Venmo.
But
you can pay us.
You know what?
Play,
imagine what the raid was like on console at 30 frames, like consistent 30 frames.
That's a hard pass.
Like that's tough, man.
That would have been a horrible time.
Right? Like I have a 2080, and I always am at 144, and I dropped down to 80 to 90 consistently. I was like, holy shit, who's fucking me in this raid? Like, what the hell? Yeah, it's the Destiny 2 is not crossplay yet. It's only cross save, so you'd have to save your account, and then you can transfer it to any system that you own the game in. So Stadia, PlayStation, Xbox. When it comes to cross save, there are plans to do that in the future, and with console being at 120 frames, and we have all these other systems in place, we're definitely going to have crossplay. And they said it in the trailer. In May, it's next year. It's a matter of time that it's going to happen. So it may be a little bit too late in terms of crossplay, but I think with the amount of people, because I don't know if you saw this, we've had over 280,000, almost 280,000 players attempt the raid. Like, think about that for a second. That's the number, by the way, number one of all time.
That's almost our peak. That's almost our peak player base at all at the least.
Yeah, number one. So
you're saying our
time.
Our peak player base attempted the raid? That's insane.
Yeah, number one of all.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really good that's great for the health of the game.
Right, and for anyone that didn't know, a lot of these day one raids, within 24 hours, you are able to earn yourself an emblem. Okay, and over about 5,500 people achieved that. I didn't. Liger here didn't, but you know, some of us
very
got close. For me, I didn't care because I'm gonna hate to break some, hurt some feelings here, but I think the emblem's ugly, like straight up. Like I actually don't like it. But then again, you're talking to a guy that likes red emblems, right? When it comes to Spider-Man themed emblems, you
probably like the normal emblem for just completing the raid more.
Exactly. I think that one looks better, right? So that's preference at the end of the day. But there obviously was a lot of drama over the weekend regarding completion. And it came from Glad's tweet. And shout out Glad, or one of our first ever guests on the show.
And also, if I may, we're not, we don't want to bring this topic up to like just shame on Glad. Like, Glad tweeted what he tweeted. He's allowed to tweet what he wants. It's a fucking free world, free country, freedom of speech. How he worded it was, obviously a little poor, but his point that Alex, Spider's going to get to, his point is very valid.
Yeah.
I agree with him to an extent. I just don't agree with how he went about it.
Yeah, he just worded it wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, what he's saying makes sense.
Because the raid and trials, I am also in agreement that not 100% of the player base should not be able to get a day one raid clear. Mm-hmm. They should not be able to go to the lighthouse without difficulty going against sweaty PvP kids. Yep. Like, games need to have exclusive end game content. Bungie is created an MMO. It's a massive multiplayer game, not like other ones, not like WoW, but there is multiple people in this game in the world playing. And I'm sorry, I am in agreement that not every single activity should be given to 100% of the player base on a silver platter.
No, I
I'm sorry.
I completely agree with that.
And
Um,
if you can't complete something, that is okay. You're not a bad player. You just need to find a way to
no,
get better.
you're
If
not
it's
a
PvP,
you're not a bad player. You're a shitty person. That's what you have to.
god damn. Um, but no, it's like, like for instance, our team, we attempted the raid. Did we finish it? No. But did we get pretty far without? Did we get through most of the encounters without figuring out what it was from someone else? Yes. We figured out most of the mechanics before we're like, all right, let's find out the better way to do this, because clearly being the most we're not being the most strategic with our DPS or whatever
Yeah.
for like Aatrox, for instance. We got stuck on Aatrox for a while. That was a big DPS check. But like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with attempting the raid on day one. But I agree with Glad that not 100% of the player base should be able to complete it easy peasy. You shouldn't be able to. That's not how I don't agree with that. I agree that not 100% of the players should be able to complete the raid like it is now.
Yeah,
Because now you can complete the raid and it's easy.
yeah, and I like that because for the first time ever, it's a farmable raid, right?
Yes.
It's
You
and
can farm armor, you can farm guns.
right,
Great idea.
and I like that because you get these things called spoils. You get 5 for every encounter, 10 for every chest that you can only get twice on each character per week. And these spoils you can use at the end of the raid. You open up the chest and you're able to basically, open up an item of choice. Like you have a chance. It's still RNG, which I do not like. I think you should be able to, you know what? I want an arm piece. You should allow me to use my spoils that I invested time in to go for it. Because a full completion is like 20
because they let
spoils,
you do it for the guns,
right? And
they let you re-roll the guns for as many as you want for 20 spells.
exactly, and I think,
but they don't let you do it for the armor. It's like, why not though?
exactly, and I think that's the mishap because you have people complaining about what they earn in the raid. Some people are getting a bunch of armor. Some people are getting only shotguns. So when it came to the whole day one experience, I understand where Glad's coming from because the moment the raid contest modifier was removed, the raid is now so easy. So to recap on his tweet, this is the tweet we're talking about. He responded to someone. So basically, this is how it goes. His first tweet goes, "So I never really touched on this publicly yet, but the Deep Stone Crypt was a 9.5 out of 10 day one experience, but the difficulty fell off. It was easy to stay alive and didn't feel overly challenging from an under-leveled perspective. I feel it should have been felt more endgame." And then someone else responded, and then he ended up going with, "I mean this with no disrespect at all. A day one emblem shouldn't be a handout. It's the most prestigious PvE event in the game. It should reward preparation and hard work and time invested. When 5,000 to 6,000 teams get a day one clear and a world first is 6+ hours, something is off in my opinion." So I see where he's getting at. But one thing he didn't realize is that we had the first ever mass attention when it comes to so many people wanted to try it out, right? And I think that's pretty cool. So because here's the comparison, by the way, for anyone listening and watching. Almost 280,000 people attempted this raid. Okay. Before that, it was 380,000 for Leviathan. Okay, and this is because Leviathan started it all. So it's so hard to count, like Leviathan because it pretty much started like Destiny 2. You know what I mean? Like, but if we look at Last Wish,
What was the how many players attempted this raid again?
280,000.
Okay, and how many completed it?
5,300, which is about a 1.9% success rate. Now, if you look at The Last Wish, only 20,000 people completed it. I mean, attempted it, right? And only 2 teams obviously finished it. Crown of Sorrow, only 26,000, right? And you look at the amount of people that attempted a raid, and this is the first time ever that we've had, a big jump like this, right? Because in 2017, it started with, we had Leviathan, 380,000. Then it went down to 180 with Eater of Worlds, which, by the way, is not much of a raid to begin with. And then it goes to Spire of Stars, dropped down to 30,000. And it just keeps, sticking around the 50,000 range. And I understand that he's not happy with how many teams achieved it. But the amount of teams that did it, and let's face it, after 6 years of gaming, or this is the same game since day one. Like, I'm sorry, people.
Yeah,
you're playing the same way.
Yeah, it's. I don't know.
I just
like it.
To add.
I see that. Like, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, like, I get what he's saying. He's just upset by the amount of people that completed it, right? Because he wants it to be harder, right? But the thing is, it was hard because over 255,000 teams, or sorry,
Yeah.
75,000 teams, 275
didn't complete
it. So
not even 1% of the. It's not even 1%.
Right. So I get
right?
it.
It's like 0.02%, right?
Yeah,
Is what it was.
It's
not even 1% of players completed the raid. So like,
yeah, like of all total players,
it's under 1% of people that have the emblem. So like, you got to think 280,000 people, which is also our peak Steam charts probably for Destiny population. And you're telling me only 5,500 of those people completed it. That's not even 1% of the population. And you should be happy that 5,500 people completed it, because that's more. I don't know. I agree with what he said, but I don't agree with how he said it.
Yeah,
I like Glad. I support him. I'm going to continue to watch him. I think, And here's the other glaring, gorilla in the room. Whether Glad likes it or not, he's one of the top leaders of the Destiny community, and everything he says and does is put under a fine microscope. And you're gonna find people that are going to be upset with what he tweets or says, whether it be just normal shitty tweets or about crazy shitty tweets, because we know Glad doesn't have any filter.
Mm-hmm.
And he just has to understand that he can't say certain things how he says them. He's got to have a little bit of an understanding that he's got to be a little bit easier with his words and how he says things, because there's no reason also to harass someone, everybody that's listening. People harassed him and all these things, and it's like, dude, end of the day, it's still a video game. You need to relax, and you need to not, like, death threats and shit to people because of an opinion. That shit's not okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
That's never okay.
Like,
so,
I know Glad's a piece of shit, but like, we don't need to tell him that. No, I'm joking.
Guys, we don't mean that. He's not. God damn it, Spider.
I'm joking.
No,
but
like,
that's awesome.
No, he is, and that's the thing. And you're never gonna have people that don't like you, or you're not gonna have 100% popularity, right? It's like that with everything in life. Presidency, your favorite athletes. There's gonna be people that you like and someone doesn't like. For instance, I like Tiger Woods as a golfer. My mom despises him because he's a scumbag. That's okay. I don't like Tiger Woods as a person. I think he is also a scumbag. But I like him for his golf personality and what he's done for the golfing game, for how the sport of golf is doing. But like, you're never gonna like 100% of the people. It just depends on how you say things. And I think he reflected on it. He posted an apology, and I think that was smart. But at the end of the day, I still think he's still allowed his opinion.
It was actually a good apology, honestly. Like, He did it
Oh, it was.
pretty well. Like honestly, he's a good speaker, and again, I get what he's saying. He wants this to be a prestigious emblem. It's for the elitists in Destiny. Like it's what it's for. So I get it. But the thing is, this is supposed to feel like a race, and you don't want a race to feel like you have to invest 24 hours. And let's face it, Bungie does not want their players, because a majority of the players, yes, we're around 30 years old, but this is still a game that's typically aimed around, late teens, early 20s, right?
Yeah.
And it's not healthy to think that you need a raid so hard to last longer than 6 hours, right? I think 6 to 8 hours for a raid is fantastic. I think it makes
I
sense.
see.
I don't think it should be
I don't
longer,
agree
man.
with
That's
that.
not healthy.
No. No.
You think it should be longer?
No. Look at fucking WoW raids. Those take fucking weeks to beat, not days. Not in a single sitting. WoW raids take literally days.
Yeah, but this is not WoW,
To beat.
right?
I understand, but the problem is the direction they're going with raids is either they need to make them more difficult or they need to make them longer again. Because how many people completed Last Wish? Eight people. 2 groups cleared Last Wish in 24 hours.
You mean 12 people?
What? Oh yeah, sorry, 12. I'm English. Math. It's hard. Very difficult. 12 people completed 2 groups in 24 hours.
Like
This raid was much shorter. There was an opening encounter,
mm-hmm.
which wasn't even an encounter really. There was no boss. It was a maze, right? We traversed, and then the second part was a short encounter to get into the, to get further into the Deepstone Crypt, and then you had your first encounter with Atrax, which was a damage check, and it stopped a lot of people there. Even the team that I think got world's first still was at Atrax for 3-4 hours. So like that was a DPS check. Then you had the jumping puzzle, and then you did the pre-Taniks fight, which was easy, and then you did the Taniks fight. So like it wasn't as long as Last Wish. It wasn't as long as Wrath of the Machine or Oryx or some of these longer raids, which had less completions.
Yeah.
Because the raid is longer, there's more encounters, there's more mechanics per encounter, and I think that's the problem, because that's why the raids seem easier now, and why more people completed them is because they're shorter. They're literally shorter raids. Like you can't compare like a Last Wish raid with Deepstone Crypt because it has half the encounters.
Well, think about it like this. When it comes to the raids, we've done so many of them. We understand what Bungie is capable of. So no matter what, people are going to be figuring out the raid so much quicker than ever. Like the Last Wish was literally the one raid that really stumped a lot of people. But let's be real. That raid was primarily hard because we were weaker and had a much shorter time to prepare. With this one,
oh god, yeah,
you had 2 weeks. It was easy to level up. You didn't need to put so many hours into it. Because let's face it, yes, raids are their number one focus for end game content, but they don't want you to need to invest so many hours into it. Like I hate to say it, like if this was like the Last Wish time, where you have to like invest 10 hours every day to really get to the level you want to be successful in for the raid. And by the way, the teams that beat it,
challenge mode also is the greatest thing they've ever.
And if I'm not mistaken, like the teams that beat it, they exploited that chest early on, and they made it. They found easier ways of leveling up, right? So, would any team been able to complete it? I think it was hard because we were just so under leveled, and I don't like those types of raid. I want it to be hard mechanically. That's me. I don't want to feel like I need to use, and this raid was almost like that. Try to beat the raid day one without divinity. Straight up.
You can't. I don't think you can. Not on challenge mode. I don't think there's enough DPS.
Right? And it forces you to complete the boss in 3 phases. You have to do it in 3 phases. So
Yep.
try to do the raid without anarchy and divinity. Right? I don't like that type of raid. I don't feel like you should need certain weapons. I want it to be hard, like a puzzle. Like you need to figure this out as a team. That's what I like. Because let's face it, it's not gonna be like WoW. WoW at the end of the day is a much bigger raid, much more complicated, takes more effort
Yep.
as a team. And we gotta realize that this is a console game, right? That's number one player base for this game is console, right? So
Yeah, but I think it's gonna start to gradually switch further.
for sure, but
So
I don't know, man. The PS5 and the Xbox, the fact that it does 120 frames in December, I think we're gonna see another boost in console. But who knows? We'll see, like during that point, what the population's like. But
and then obviously once you get to crossplay, it really doesn't give a shit.
exactly. So I understand like what Glad was saying in terms of maybe having the raid a little bit longer, maybe a little bit harder. But I think it's just because people had more time to prepare. They understand what Bungie's capable of, and that's it. Like what more can you do? Because here's the actions in Destiny. You either shoot something, you grab something, or you throw something. What else can you do in the game?
Sure.
Right? Or sorry, and stand on something. That's it. Right?
True.
That's literally it. So what more can Bungie really implement in this game? I will say, imagine a raid as hard as that puzzle. You know that puzzle that they did where it was like a community puzzle and everyone has to figure it out together?
Stop it.
Imagine it was like that. Or what if it was like
Can't
what if
yourself.
what if it was like Wrath of the Machine where the only way was you remember when math class figured out the code?
Imagine if they did the binary thing, but that was to actually get past to the encounter.
Exactly.
Like, imagine you had to actually complete that thing to open that to get into a teleporter to go to the boss.
Exactly.
Instead of just having it to be for an exotic.
Exactly. So think about that.
Nobody would have completed, because how long did it take to complete that thing? How long did it take for math class or whoever it did to complete the binary thing?
Exactly. And this is the way I look at it is I did Last Wish day one.
Like, I want to DM Datto right now and ask him, how long did it take you to finish the binary?
Because when I did
streaming.
When I did day one Last Wish with EK, it was we got basically stopped at the ogre, and being straight up with you, I didn't enjoy that raid day one. Right? Like it felt unprepared, and then seeing how long it took 2 teams and potentially 3 teams because of Datto to complete that whole raid because of DPS, it's kind of tough, and I like a raid where it feels like a race. Bro, you know how many teams were like so close to each other, like seconds?
I get that.
I like that. That's a race, man.
I do too, but I also, I don't know. It's tough because you're never, like I said, you're never gonna fucking please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I want longer raids. I want raids like Wrath of Machine. I want multiple bosses, multiple encounters. Last Wish is my ideal size raid for Destiny. I don't think Deepstone Crypt or Scourge of Past, Crown, Spire, none of those are proper Destiny raids. I would rather have a raid every other year and have it be Last Wish size than get a raid every fall and have it be 2 encounters or 2 bosses. I want 4 bosses or 3, and then an extra like puzzle encounter, kind of like the security part was. I don't know. I just want a longer raid. I want something more immersive and complex, and just takes longer to do. You shouldn't be able to speed run through a raid in 15 minutes. Like,
I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna take the opposite route. I don't like raids long, because finding a team to invest time to do a long raid on more than one character was almost impossible in Last Wish. no one had time to do multiple raids for Last Wish.
I get that, but that's
And after a while, trust me, bro, after a while of doing Last Wish, it gets so boring. Like, anyone that asks me, hey, Spider, can you help me do a Last Wish? I'm just like, ugh. Like, I'll help, but I really don't want to. You ask me to do a Scourge? That's perfect. You know what I mean? Maybe it'd be nice if day one had an extra encounter. You know what I mean? It'd be cool if day one was its own raid, where there was maybe an extra puzzle encounter and maybe like an extra secret like mission within, and then maybe after day one they remove those two things to shorten it. Because I don't want to do a long raid, man. I like raids that are short and you could farm for spoils.
But the thing is, like but then you just get more spoils, more encounters, more spoils per raid run. Last Wish still isn't that bad to do now. It still only takes fucking 20-30 minutes to do Last Wish. I'm just saying, for a day one raid, I still want more encounters. If they would have had one more boss and one more in between encounter in Deepstone Crypt, would have been fucking amazing. I would have been extremely happy. But the fact that there was only 2 bosses that we had to do damage on, I don't like that.
Honestly, if you were able to shoot a divinity bubble, maybe I'd agree with you that I want another encounter. But you know what?
Bitch, that wasn't the only fucking reason. And don't get me started, because I will put this person on blast. And I don't feel like being an asshole today, so don't make me be an asshole.
I had to.
Don't fucking put that on me.
No, it wasn't the only reason. I'll call out everyone that made a mistake.
Also, the divinity bubble wasn't there fucking every single time because you were dead. That's why. So
I know. I was dead 3 times.
Yeah, and you were dead more than fucking 3 times.
No, during the divinity time, I was dead 3 times.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I was dead. Obviously, we were all dead in the beginning, like before that point. But during divinity phase, yeah, I died 3 times. I counted. I made sure I counted because I was like, fuck. But no, I get what you're saying, like longer raids and all that. I personally, I like the size of this raid. I hope that in the last year of Destiny that we get like the biggest, baddest boss of all time. That's what I want. I want an Oryx boss. I want the Last Wish type of boss. I need a big monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I want. Like, the Oryx is always going to be the best raid because I had 2. I guess you can count the Knight as a big monster, but I had like 3 big bosses in Last Wish. Like, that was exhilarating, right? So I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I think day 1 emblems are pretty dope. I think they should continue that. I think overall, I have no real complaints for Bungie. I think they did a fantastic job with the lore. We finally have a raid that continues the lore in the story.
Yes.
Right? Last Wish was pretty good if you read the lore. But this is the one raid that you played the campaign and it went into the raid, just like the time with Oryx. Like, that's what people want. You want to play the story and understand, okay, in the raid, this is the person I'm fighting, or this is why I'm fighting this type of person. So I think Bungie is doing a fantastic job with everything now. Only thing they need more of is more weapons in the world.
Agree.
And honestly, more... I like the Aldrin cutscene that we had, but now I feel like Aldrin's useless.
Well, there's more to it. That's the thing. Like, we don't have the story with Zavala and the Cabal. Why are we working with the Cabal?
Yep.
So there is clearly more dripped content story for Season of the Hunt with the Crow, Osiris, Zavala, the Cabal scene. There's way more stuff that we're not getting yet that we're waiting for. That will be content dripped over December, January, February, March, April, because this season goes to what, June? Did I say?
Wait, this season?
Is that correct?
Like Season of
How
the
long
Hunt?
does Season of the Hunt go?
So February. It's only 3 months.
Is it February?
Yeah, 3 months.
73 days.
So 2 more months. Yeah, February.
Is that more than February? Oh, is this February? Okay, yeah. So we have December, January, and February to find out all these things, obviously. And when, like, I just want a roadmap too from Bungie. Like, all right, this Tuesday
Yeah.
you're gonna get more season. This Tuesday from 4 weeks from that day, you're gonna get more content. Like, I just want to know when we're gonna get these content drips because like there is still so much that they showed in a trailer that we haven't seen in the game yet.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like whatever happens with Zavala and the Cabal is a decent size something for us to do in the game. Because why would they show us working with the Cabal?
And I'm convinced that Zavala and like the ending is it, and with the Cabal is gonna literally be the ending of the season of the hunt.
And you think it's going to carry into the next season?
Yeah, I think right now we're just hunting enemies, bro, and whatever Aldrin thinks. And I hate to say it, all the seasons are not gonna be as good as Beyond Light and it's the raid. I think the next good season is gonna be probably the one with Atheon. Like let's face it, we don't even have
Yeah.
trials right now. Like the game is glitchy as hell and experiencing a few setback and a few issues. Um,
Yeah.
and next season we're supposed to have new armor for trials, right? I just feel like is that an incentive for you to play trials? I heard cheaters are back in the game, right? So now what?
I just can't believe it took literally like 20 minutes for trials to be just disabled today.
Right? So
That shit's wild to me.
it's tough, right? Like I feel like they're on the right track. I just feel like they don't have a big enough team to support the demand, you know? Because I'll be honest, I did a lot of the stuff on the one character, and I'm at a high level. And my favorite thing about Destiny 2 is the season pass because you don't really have to play anything on the other characters other than the campaign, and you're gonna be up to the level because you could just use the season pass to bump you up.
Only
And
to an extended point, though. After you collect the armor, you only get to collect it once.
no, I know, but you can. I'm at 1250 automatically, with my other two characters, and I didn't even play the game, like the campaign,
Yeah.
right? So, I think Bungie's on the right track. I just feel like they need more content,
Yeah.
right? It's just not enough.
Honestly, I really am convinced that they should just hire a small studio to work on
Hmm.
armor and guns for loot.
Yeah, yeah,
Let your Bungie employees work on your story, everything, quality of life things that you want to focus on in the game to make it better with the transmog and all that shit. You focus on the core things you want, right? That are important. But when it comes to the other things people want, like guns and armor and loot drops, hire a studio to fucking do that. Like, you can't. I just don't understand why not. Like, I have no problem with sunsetting guns in seasons. That is fine. But when you sunset 90% of your guns in the game and you replace it with 5% of that 90,
yeah.
that's not cool. Like, cool, the Crow has like 6 guns. The Raid has 6 guns. There's a few exotics. There's not enough weapons.
Well, there's not enough chase weapons. You know, you want things to chase, right? Things to go for, and I think
Yeah.
that's the main issue. But I will say, and to say some positives, whoever designed the Stranger and Anna Bray storyline, unbelievable. That was
Oh my
actually
god,
pretty cool, man. That was awesome.
did you watch the last one
Yeah, yeah.
for Born in Darkness Part 4?
It was
Where they're
good.
talking with Clovis?
Yeah, that was, bro.
That was
Honestly,
phenomenal.
that's
So,
that's lore you're watching the game. So kudos to whoever's
yeah.
designing that, and hopefully that is in the last one. Hopefully there's things
No, I hope
more.
there's more. And I'm gonna stop us because, or at least anyone listening, if you play Destiny and you haven't gotten that this far in the game and you have not done Quest Step 4 of Born in the Darkness with Elsie and what's her name? What's her sister's name?
Anna Bray.
Anna Bray. Stop listening for 5 minutes so I can speak my mind. 3, 2, 1. I don't feel bad for you if anything is spoiled at this point. That cutscene was fucking hilarious because like you're just sitting there and you have Elsie and Anna going back and forth and saying, Clovis, you're a fucking asshole, basically.
Hmm.
And Clovis is speaking, and they're like, fuck you, dude. You can't do shit to us anymore. Like,
Mhm.
you're a brain dead Exo now in the tower as Banshee. but you have no control over us. And I love that those two girls, the sisters, basically, they're like, screw you. We're going to do this. We're going to do this for us and for everyone else. And you can't stop us.
Yeah.
And just that like camaraderie between Elsie and that it was just, I loved it. I was laughing when I was watching that like little cutscene happen, and it was great.
Yeah.
I want more shit like that.
Yeah, lore in the game. I don't want to read shit. I want to watch it.
I really don't want to read shit either. Like, just give me it in little cutscenes, and that's not even a cutscene. That's just you were on the screen, and it's just I enjoyed it. So it's that kind of thing that I enjoyed that they put in the game with this season.
And I would love for the lore pieces that they have in the game, like on the weapons. It'd be cool if they had like a play and pause button. So you can literally sit back rather than read the whole paragraph. If you just wanted to listen to it, you just click play and then like whichever actor
reads it to you.
Exactly. Right?
Hey Bungie, hire Bife to read lore tabs for us.
Right? Because think about it, like I think it'd be pretty cool to just sit back and just listen to it.
Yeah, because like if you go through, like, dude, there is a lot.
Yeah.
Of lore tabs. Like if you go into the new lore tab that they have,
there's so many. I didn't even read any of them. It's too many. And the worst part about it,
I mean, this is like reading books.
And the one thing I don't like
some
about
of them have 12 pages, and they're 7 or 8 paragraphs long.
Yeah. So I'd rather listen to that like a podcast, just listen to it and not worry about it, right? So there's a lot of pros and cons with Destiny 2, and I think with everything that's happened this week, I think there was a lot of positives. Like overall, I think it brought a lot of people back into the game, and hopefully, hopefully there's not too much of a dry spell. But we do have Dawning, and who knows if that's gonna be a little bit different. But I like what they're doing, and kudos to the tech support team, or the player support team, where they are updating all the glitches as quickly as possible. They're killing it. So keep up the good work.
They're doing a great job with that. Yeah. And I would rather them disable things like PvP than let it just go and have bugs in it and it not feel worthwhile. Because you can't have stuff like that go on in a game. Like I was talking to my brother today. We were talking about Cyberpunk, and he was like, "Why do they keep delaying it?" And I'm like, "So when you have a game come out that's like Cyberpunk or Destiny, that's an open world, RPG game, right? Open world role play, because that's what Cyberpunk is, right? It's an open world. You can see other players and stuff.
No.
Or is it simply just a role play?
I think it's just a role play.
Okay, so either way, when you have role play RPG games or MMO games like Destiny, I was like, you can't have bugs at launch. And I told him the story of Anthem and what happened. And he was like, "Oh, dude." He was like, "Dude, seriously?" And I'm like, "Yes, seriously." He's like, "That sucks." And I'm like, "I know." So your entire player base and your community that you've grown and you've had a carrot out at the end of a stick teasing people with, and you just said, basically, fuck you, basically, by releasing a game that wasn't ready. It's bad for the game, and it takes a lot for a company, a game developer, to get that trust back. How long did it take for Division to bounce back with everything they did?
Oh, at least a year
4
and a
or
half.
5 years?
No. Division, about a year and a half. Division, people think Division was as long as Destiny, but it's not, right? Division came like a year after Destiny. So it's always been like a younger franchise. But they took about a year and a half, almost 2 years to really bounce back.
But it took a while to bounce back, right?
Yeah.
Anthem's never going to be able to bounce back. Cyberpunk, the only thing they have on their side is the fact that we're facing a global pandemic and that they're probably all still working from home.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with Cyberpunk keep getting delayed. Yeah. I'm okay with it because at this point, the amount of hype that is behind Cyberpunk and the anticipation and the draw for people to want to play this game, if they fuck this up and they drop the ball, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be fucking just blood in the street. Like, it's going to be awful. So I told him, I'm like, I'm okay with it being delayed. Like, I have plenty of shit to do right now. I got Destiny. I'm happy with Destiny again. I took the longest time off from playing Destiny, and I'm enjoying it. Like, I want to raid as much as possible to get better rolls on these weapons, the shotgun, the sniper, and, stuff like that.
Well,
I got plenty of shit to do
yeah, and then another
until
game,
Cyberpunk comes out.
another
Push it to
game,
January. I don't care.
another game that's a good example is the Avengers. Avengers has one of the best campaigns I've played, and the game's dead now. Like so,
Yeah.
and a lot of money got invested in that game because they have some badass voice actors, and it's a shame because I invested in the game. The game's now 50% off, and you're just like fuck, like it's the game's dead. Like as of now, the only game I'm really playing is Destiny. Miles Morales I played, which I absolutely loved, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to 100% it. But other than that, I'll sometimes play Division 2, which is whatever. But that's it. There's not really any game that's hooked me as much as Destiny has, and
Yeah.
I think Destiny's lucky that they came at the right time when they launched Destiny 1. Like honestly, because there was no one to really compete it. So, but yeah,
Yeah, no, it's been fun, and like I said, like I truly do enjoy Destiny for what it is.
yeah,
It was nice to take a little time off from not having to play every single day, but I enjoy it again, and I'm sure I'll burn myself out again before the next fall expansion, and I'll love it again. But um, there's always things they can change and fix and make better. But
yeah,
for the time now, I mean, what they're doing from home,
yeah, man.
bravo. I
Yeah,
mean, what they were able to do, because this all, I mean, everything in Beyond Light wasn't completed before the pandemic started. So like what they've been able to deliver and give us from home, phenomenal.
yeah, yeah.
Like hands down, good job. You made me fall in love with the game again.
They found a way to give us the same garbage that they've been giving us every single year, but with the comfort of their own home. I absolutely love it.
Stop it.
but
It's
but all
not
right,
true.
everyone, that is episode 19.
That's how we're gonna end it.
That's how we're gonna end
But
it. But
episode 19. Holy shit, dude.
but yeah, but
Next week is 20.
next week is 20. We're legal.
We're gonna
But
do something
so yeah, everyone, thank you for watching episode 19. We talked about Destiny 2, the raid, a little bit about the emblem drama. And yeah, we'll be back next week at 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday to talk about more of this garbage game. And no, I'm joking. No, we'll probably think about some new topics to talk about. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.